All right, what's going on? Here we are, first pour at a brand new project. Actually poured the crane base here, shoot, about 6 weeks ago now. Right down there. And they have since shotcreted in all the exterior parkade walls. And the columns and the core and whatnot, I believe they've done all that with the crane and bucket here. So this is our first pour, decent sized pour with the pump. And we're doing all the slab on grade today. About 100 cubic meters. I shouldn't say all, but all that is formed up. So what do you think? You gotta use a full flex or you'll get a full rig here?
No, I think we're gonna have to use the full flex.
Oh, okay.
Shane told me we're not doing anything in front of the crane today.
Okay, so everything today that we're pouring is on this side of the crane.
Bobcat to the back.
Oh, I see what Mike means. Yeah, nothing, we're not pouring anything right here. Okay, so that means we sit back a bit, keep our boom on that side of the crane mast. The crane mast is kind of right in the middle of the site, which makes it tough, but we'll make it work. So yeah, those who haven't seen my about a gazillion videos about the full flex system, what that is on this pump is it lets you put the outriggers out as much or as little as you so choose. And then the pump limits you, electronically limits you in terms of reach according to how far out you've extended those outriggers. We got a neighboring business across the street here, so we have to keep the lane open, keep one lane open, and still have room, ideally, to get 2 trucks at a time onto the hopper or the pump. I don't know that that's going to happen. That might be a bit ambitious, but we'll see here. Anyhow, we'll play around with this and get set up. And check back in once we get some outriggers out. So the story with this and that is when the excavator came out, put the nose of his tracks right into the sidewalk when transitioning from the dirt to the sidewalk and punched into it, and that's what busted it up. Our city sidewalks here, they do not have rebar in them, and over time when there's settlement underneath the sidewalk, they break quite easily. So it's very likely what the case is there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to grab a shovel and I'll get a bunch of soil and I'll fill the low spots, and we'll bridge all this with a bunch of 4x6 timber, make it good. All right, here we go. Outrigger pad crane in action. 12-volt winch. Picks the pads, lowers them down. At the end of the day, it raises them back up and drops them in the rack. And because they're round pads, once they're down, you just roll them into place. We definitely need to get some sort of protective film on the edge of the pump here. Somebody mentioned that in the comments in a previous video, and they're absolutely right. Maybe some clear paint protection or something. That there, folks, is a big ass dunnage pad. like that. That is going nowhere. Perfect. Looks good, yeah. Mikey's loading that up to see if anything moves or shifts, which it's not. Those are 60-inch round pads, Dyka Fiber Max on this pump with a 70,000 pound outrigger load, or 69,000 and change. It brings our ground pressure down to just right around 22 psi, right about where we're at. We'll just kick this side out what we can here. We don't need much. We're actually not even going to be booming past that fully extended outrigger on the working side. So in theory, that outrigger could just be dropped straight down. But we'll take whatever room they're going to give us. More is always better than less. And these outriggers, because of the extra reinforcement, not on the outrigger leg, extra reinforcement, but also on the pedestal, allows us to do the partial extension like what we've done here. So. I almost forgot the hype phrase leading into the super awesome intro. So a little bit late in the game here, but let's pump some concrete with a really, really big pump. Woohoo! Here we go. Rewind, and there we go. Set up, ready to rock. We do have some overhead power lines back here. The top wires are 12.5 kV. The next set down are 220 volt, and then the bottom wires are cable telephone. Yeah. So our rule from the 12.5 kV wires is we must maintain a minimum distance of 10 feet, and we're well away from those. We're probably 20 feet off of those. There's a flag line that's 6 feet off of the actual 12.5 kV line, which is also shielded. So they've done a good amount of safety measures here, preventative measures. So we got lots of room. We're in good shape. And I will say on that point, know the rules and regulations in your local area. They differ from region to region. So get familiar with what the rules are in your region. Don't go off of what I say, because that's specific to where we are here. The setup we've been doing lately, we've been taking a page out of the book from our European friends that seem to have been doing this for years. Running a short 4-inch hose and then our whip hose off of that. That way if we have to taper down to running system, which we usually run 3.5-inch hose, we just have the air cuff hanging. We can pinch that hose off and swap out our gear, and we're not waiting for the boom to drip empty. We do have a nice 5-inch double-ended Trelleborg hose coming from Conforms, the cable braid one. And we're going to use that once it gets here, but it hasn't arrived yet. So for now, we use this 4-inch wire braid. It's a good system though. The European guys are right. A few of them have mentioned this to me in the comments about using a short double ender, and it definitely makes life easier. Oh, you're not allowed to use that one, Mike. You know why? It's adjustable. You can't use it adjustable from the boat.
Down a bit.
Yay! Okay, so here's a good safety topic. You notice on the boom we have all non-adjustable clamps. Did you know, as per our local safety authority, as well as the ACPA, adjustable clamps are not permitted to be used on any gear hanging from the boom. And the reason why, the theory behind why, is as the clamp gets dirty, guys, instead of cleaning the clamp, they'll just twist the handle. Right, there's a tough to see on this one, but it's threaded, and you can just keep backing out the adjustment instead of cleaning the clamp, so the guys can still get the clamp on, but it's not getting proper engagement. And what eventually happens, you back the clamp out so much that the engagement is so shallow, it can come apart here, or see that? Even in the closed position, it can come apart. So that is why not permitted to be used hanging from the boom. I myself am a fan of adjustable clamps for the back end of the line pump, because as the clamps wear and age, I can adjust and tighten them down and get those halves tight. Whereas a fixed non-adjustable clamp, as it wears, it inherently gets sloppy. So I believe in adjustable clamps in certain applications. It's just, I believe that negligence is what's kind of led to where we're at with these not being allowed to be used on the boom. So anyhow, just a fun safety tidbit. Do not use adjustable clamps on the boom, or you'll get in big doo-doo, especially if you have a problem. So what do you guys think out there? Who uses adjustable clamps, especially line pump guys? Do you prefer adjustable or non-adjustable? I'm a fan of the adjustables, but I know that some of the larger outfits with large fleets, they've actually banned the use of adjustable clamps in their fleet, just out of fear of one being used in the incorrect application or being installed incorrectly. So just to mitigate any liability that way. And I can see that does make sense to me. A smaller company like ourselves, where I think we're a little bit more able to keep on top of every little thing. I don't mind them, and for myself personally, for own personal usage, I do like the adjustables for line pumping. For a boom pump, I don't see any need for them. So anyhow, just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Adjustable versus non-adjustable. What do you think? Mike is going to stretch out here and see if we actually reach. Oh, we got lots of reach, eh?
I think so. I don't think lots. I think we're just gonna make it.
Think you'll be bang on? Okay. All right, see how we sat back from the crane, so when we boom over to here, we have enough clearance. We'll be right on that crane mast and still get the end hose where we need to be. Yeah, I think we're in really good shape here. As an operator, I always like being exactly where Mike is when I'm stretching out. That way I can monitor my outriggers, see what they're doing as I'm stretching that boom out. These cracks here that are in the sidewalk have been here for probably decades. So this is not recent settlement. So we're not super concerned about that. You can see right here, there's a crack opening up. Hey, Mike. sinking pretty good. Should we get him to bring some 4x6 up? Yeah, we do not like that. When you start seeing this kind of stuff open up, and that's with the boom empty, you get that boom full of concrete and start cycling it, the load could easily double on that. So I think we're gonna fly some 4x6 up and tend to this. Yeah, that's a better safe than sorry. So chances are this is just settling a few inches, but we're not going to take any chances. So we're going to bring that boom back in. We'll get some dunnage down. We'll build a bigger pad and reevaluate. There we go. The boys on site are flying us up another bundle of 4x6 timber, and we'll build ourselves a raft out of that stuff. Let's try again. There we have it, the Noah's Ark of dunnage. Yeah, I don't like that when we stretch out and start getting fault lines. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. We have never, in the history of AJ's concrete pumping, put a pump over before, and I don't want to start today, so. And a lot of that that record I attribute to having the right stuff on the machine, having the Dyka pads on all the pumps available to the guys. As you can see in some situations like this, even the Dyka pads aren't enough. You got to grab some material from on site. But at least having a good base set of materials for building dunnage on the pump goes a long, long ways, in my opinion. Have the tools on the machine for the operators to do the job safely, right? So. Do we give Mikey the hopper check?
Yes, he was supposed to bring it up.
Okay.
Where is he? Here, yeah.
I don't think he's qualified at 500 hours yet, but we're doing okay. Could do a little bit better on that top hopper grate bar there, but I think the Alliance anti-stick is going to solve that. Same with a little bit of freckling on the vibrator. Once you get them on the right product here, that'll all be a thing of the past.
Vibrator cutting out thing is so annoying.
Is it still doing it?
Yeah.
Is it really? Oh my god. Alright, we are ready to go. We'll just back this truck on here, get some mud in the hopper, primer out, and rock and roll. And the hopper holster is still intact and holding strong. Like I said, for a mixer truck to get his chute into this thing, I don't know, man. You've already probably gotten into this stuff. Like I said, we've been hit here when they come in with the chute up real high and they're trying to get two at a time on without using the flip chute. We've had that, but yeah, I don't know, we've put a couple thousand meters through this thing since installing this, and we have not had any close calls yet. See what I got you? We're gonna ceramic coat the hopper. Look skeptical. Get a skeptic. So, Zach Miller from Gordy's Concrete, probably out of Wisconsin, and tipped me off to this stuff. So we're going to use this on the exterior surface of the hopper, and we'll see how it works in terms of repelling concrete. And yeah, we tarp our stuff anyhow, but there's still that little bit of stuff that gets past the tarp, so we still oil underneath of it. So we'll see if this alleviates having used so much or any oil. And this was not cheap. This was like $250 Canadian from Amazon, and I probably paid too much. It's probably somewhere cheaper to get it from. But I'm gonna do the hopper of Mike's pump, and I do the hopper of my little line pump with this stuff, because they both have newer paint on them, which is still in pretty good condition. And we'll maybe we'll make a video applying this stuff, and then we'll do some follow-ups and see how it lasts and how it works in terms of keeping concrete from sticking to the painted surface. And away we go, just like that. Puke this first bit of bentonite into the gravel outside of the pour area. Don't want that contamination in the slab. There's potential to leave a soft, unfinishable spot. Because bentonite is mud, and as such, it never hardens up the way concrete would. Look at that dropping into the fourth section there. Coming out the hose any second. Any second. Like that, there it is. Stretch her out and pump ourselves a slab here. And we'll still keep an eye on this as we stretch out. Keep a keen ear for any kind of snap, crackle, pop. Should let us know that the timbers are moving, settling, things could be going on underneath them. That's a lot of dunnage. That'll have this thing down to about 10 psi. 10 psi of actual ground pressure. That is one of the reasons why I like priming out in the Z, because the boom is percentage-wise is much more full than if you prime out in an A-frame. In an A-frame, you still got 2 or 3 sections that are empty. Then you go stretch the boom out, and you got all that boom loading up. And you're loading up with the boom flat out. And if you have any movement or anything in your dunnage, you're adding all that extra load to it. It's not a good situation. I would much prefer to swing the boom as loaded as possible. And as I'm stretching out, if there's any kind of movement or shifting, then I can act in real time. once you put that weight in the boom, when you pump that concrete through, you can't take it back quickly. If I'm swinging over and things start to shift, I can just swing back the other way. Gives me a lot more options to react, if you will. A lot more chance to react. So we see here when Mike starts pumping, the boom still is going to load up a little bit more. See if we hear anything, see if anything moves. You hear that? There's a little bit of a pop. Got a good flow coming through the end of the hose there. We're in good shape up here. Why the testers always want to set up their station on our Outrigger dunnage, I don't know. Like, really? Probably a million better spots to do so, in my opinion. But maybe not a million, but I can think of at least 3 or 4. Yeah, so this first bit, this parking slab, the suspended slab here, I believe that may be a higher strength concrete, and then we move into a lower strength concrete for the actual slab on grade stuff, I believe. Not uncommon when you stretch out, get the boom loaded, the Outriggers can pick up a little bit. There's always a little bit of settlement there. I always prefer to adjust the non-working side rather than trying to lift up on the working side. It seems to stabilize better to work on this side, just to tighten things up. You lift that side up and it just messes with the pivot point, and sometimes it can actually lift worse on the non-working side, in my opinion and experience. Really nice mud today here. Nice creamy concrete. Swoop in for the money shot. Don't mind me, I don't want you on camera, just your concrete. Beautiful, beautiful. Good job. Yeah, nice stuff. Small rock, greasy stuff. You don't see mud like this too often these days. Shout out to the supplier, Greystone Concrete. So my assumption would be, because this ends up being exterior concrete, that there's air in that mix, air entrainment, which fluffs it up, fattens it up a good bit, makes it a lot easier to a lot easier for the guys to pump, that's for sure. Yeah, so we'll hit that, they come all the way down the ramp here. And then we get into the parking area. You can see all the orange pegs they have for heights, all kinds of heights and slopes. So pull out this parking area, a little wall here, more parking area on the other side. You can see what I mean, maybe a little better perspective from down here. To get over to this area, that boom is going to be right on the crane mast, so we sat the pump back a little bit. I'd say probably Give it 3 or 4 hours and we'll get the rider trowels on here. So the bentonite that Mike primed out, it's just essentially just a bunch of mud. Yeah, I'd say for now, while the pump's still stretched out, what do you say we get the drone up? Talk to the guys. Crane's on a little break here, so it's perfect timing to fly the drone around. We're not interfering with the crane operator, so here we go. Let's get it up. Well, guys are just working away on the ramp there, and once they get down into the parkade area, I'm sure things will speed up a little bit. But yeah, we're off and rolling here. Dunnage is solid, nothing has moved. Feeling good about things now. So we'll check back in a little bit, maybe when they get the rider trowels going and they're putting a finish on this stuff. But for now, for the next 2, 3, 4 hours, we just pump the concrete. Well, we actually need another truck before we can do that. They're having to stage the trucks down the street, so there's probably one just on the next block coming around right now. So all right, here we go. A few hours later, ride-on trowels are ready to go. It's getting dropped in place here with the crane. Caught one. So why I love my double hopper screen. So we just got one last load to go here and then we're done for a total of right around 100 cubic meters, I believe it is. So this project is one level parkade, I believe. Two levels parkade, I believe, sorry. Two levels parkade and then one level concrete above street level, I believe. So slab on grade, 1, 2, 3 suspended slabs, and then wood frame on top of that. I think this one might be rental housing. That seems to be the trend lately. So not a huge job, but it's something. The market here is definitely slower than it was in the last couple of years. Right now there's not a whole lot of tall high-rise tower stuff starting up. So right now it's just kind of filler work, right? But work is work nonetheless. It's a nice little job, not too far from our yard, so we're happy and thankful to have it for sure. Yeah, so throughout the day our dunnage didn't seem to settle or shift anymore. You can see there's a little bit of undulation to it, just where things kind of initially did settle. But like I said, that's a big dunnage pad. That's very low ground pressure on the sidewalk underneath. And our sidewalks locally here, they don't run any kind of buried utilities this longitudinally. So the sidewalks locally here, they're poured on a like a compact road base, no rebar. But as the years go by, that base can still settle a little bit. And when you get some weight on the sidewalk, it'll do kind of what it's done here. It'll settle a few inches and away you go. They replace all this anyhow, so they're not too concerned about it cracking. As long as it holds the pump up, we're good. Mike, how are you liking the hopper holster overall?
Yeah, good.
Versus what you had to hang your hose on previously, which was nothing, which was the handrail.
This is handy. These are handy.
Is there any additional storage you would add to it, or is that sufficient for what you would want on the back of the pump? It's good? Okay. So far, so good. If you're looking to order one of these, $250 US from now until September. If you use the code Keep On Pumping, we'll give you 5% off. $250 USD. I'll put a link in the description where you can grab one of these from MN Coda Manufacturing. The final logo to accompany the name, the actual name is Hopper Holster, and there's they made a custom logo, a really cool logo to go with it. I'll maybe insert a picture of that right about here. Yeah, it's a handy little device for keeping all the pumper's necessities, for storing them at the back of the pump. All right, last meter or so here, and we'll pump this thing out back into the mixer truck, suck some sponges back, pack up, get on out of here. All right, Mike's just gonna pump this hopper down. We just misted it up a little bit. We backed the mixer up to get him away from the power lines. We're gonna pump back into the mixer. I know there's guys are gonna say, well, why don't you water wash? Because I know in a lot of areas they water wash back into the mixer. Couple reasons. time, the time it takes for us to fill that hopper full of water. It's just not efficient. I know guys that are regular water washers, they'll have a larger auxiliary tank on the truck rather, and a large feed line, so they can fill the tank within like 30 to 60 seconds. But for us, running off of our water or robbing from the mixer, it just takes too long. The other thing is, a lot of our sites, this one being one of them, we cannot wash out on site. There's nowhere to wash out, so we've got to take this to the washout facility, which is about 25 minutes away, and to do so with a hopper 3/4 or more full of water sloshing around, it's a bad scene. It ends up splashing out and making a mess. So that's the other reason why we don't do it. But for us, pulling a couple sponges and then sucking a bit of sugar back into the hopper to kill the concrete that remains in there is by far the most efficient way to do it. So that's what we're going to do here once again today. And don't get me wrong, I do water wash myself from time to time, and I think for certain markets it definitely makes sense. Just for ours here, with the particulars of our market, it doesn't make sense for us, and that's the reason why really in the lower mainland here there's probably 200 boom pumps on the road, and I don't personally know one single operator that water washes as their regular routine. So Mike is going to pump this down back to the mixer as low as we possibly can. We'll push as much air through this as we can, purge that hopper down as low as we possibly can, and leave as much room in the hopper as we can to pull back the sponges and whatever concrete remains in the pipeline. And yes, we're doing this in a Z'd up position. We're also going to pull the sponges back in a Z'd up position. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we drop this boom down and get onto that part of the routine here. But for now, he's just going to take a couple minutes here and just pump this thing out. For those who are new to the channel or new to concrete pumping, what I'll do is I'll pump that hopper down until it's sucking air, until there's all the concrete is away from the material cylinders, and it can't draw any more concrete in. It'll start to draw air into the system, and it'll push air through the pipes, and the air will purge out the end hose. Now, even when that process is done, there is still a good bit of residual concrete remaining in the pipeline, and that's why we put the sponge in the tip elbow, put the pump in reverse, pull that sponge back, and it'll bring all that residual concrete with it. If you don't pump all that air through, by the time you pull your sponges back, the hopper doesn't have enough capacity. It'll be overflowing. So Mike's knocked the pin stopper down to stop the sponges from getting sucked into the S-tube and potentially chopped. I missed one of the best parts. We had a bucket full of sugar water, and he's throwing the bucket full of sugar water in the hopper. As the sponges get sucked back, we'll mix that sugar water in with the concrete, and the sugar will kill the concrete. Enough sugar will keep concrete from setting basically forever, so we got no worries if we get stuck in traffic or whatever between here and the washout facility. That concrete's not setting anytime soon. Not anytime this week anyhow, that's for sure. So we'll drop this boom down and pull some sponges back now. Look at this. The hell kind of ghetto sponges are we buying? Look at this. It's a two-piece. Oh, wow. I guess whatever works. Take back at full volume, because we pull back in that Z position. You need the momentum because you've got air, concrete. If you try and do that slow, once you get into an air pocket, it won't pull the ball back any further. So you need that momentum to keep it moving. Once we get that one all the way back, we'll put in the square with a whole bunch of water in front of it. We'll take that one back slow. There's guys that say put the sponge in, drop the boom in the cradle, then pull it back. if you can't pull back in an A-frame. I've never been much of a believer in that. The reason why, if I drop my boom down in the cradle and then I realize the sponge is stuck and now I gotta take the boom back out of the cradle and unfold it to rectify the situation, I'm just not a fan. With it like this, you just hang out at the elbow and wait till she's home. You hear the machine doing the ka-thunk, ka-thunk. That means it's pulling hard. Sponge is moving. When it does the ka-thunk, it's pulling hard on that sponge and vacuum locking. Like that, vacuum locking. Sponge is moving again now. And I think it's back now. Yeah, I believe that's it. All right. I'll bring this down and flood it out with water. It really is the water that does the fine cleaning. You can pull back 10 sponges, but let's use a whole bunch of water. You're not going to get those nice clean pipes. I had a video I posted a while back. It's a short video where the sponge was brand new and still in the plastic bag, and we used the first sponge still in the plastic bag, and people were losing their minds saying that it wouldn't get the pipes clean. It's not the foam texture that gets the pipes clean. It's the mass traveling through the pipe, scraping the concrete, in essence. And then to get them really clean, it's the flood of water on the second round, or if you put water in front of the first sponge, that'll do it too. Why I'm not a fan of putting water in front of the first sponge, then you introduce the chances of segregation. So for years, that's how I did it. I would leave the 5 to 4 inch taper on. I'd use one ball with about 5 gallons of water in front of it and pull it back nice and slow. There's lots of variables to making that work. The reason why we don't want our guys doing it, like I said in many previous videos, every single time the pumps come back to the yard with a sponge stuck, it's been segregation from putting water in front of it. So we just kind of made it a blanket policy, no water in front of the first sponge. Do as I say, not as I do, right? There's a million ways to do this. No matter which way you post, 1 sponge, 2 sponge, water wash, whatever, 70% of the people are going to say that you've done it wrong. So this is what works for us. And Mike will just leave this sucking back nice and slow as he carries on with the rest of his cleanup here. A nice slow wipe on that second sponge. Like I said, the first sponge, volume 10, just get it home. Once it's home, you're in the clear. That's the hard part. Relatively speaking, that's the hard part, right? No need to go slow on the first sponge if you're going to pull a second one. If you're only pulling one ball back, I 100% agree. You don't want to do it at maximum volume, or you're going to have residue in your elbows and everything else. So there's something over here that's really bugging me. When we popped the hose off, we did have unexpectedly a little nugget. There you go, we fixed it. Just like that, second sponge is back. Listen for that echo when it shifts over. Right about, here it comes. Here it comes. You heard that? That's the echo you want to hear. When the sponges are back all the way, you will get that echo when the valve shifts over. So we're good. We'll continue packing up here, and we'll check in before we leave. Check in here and see how much concrete we're taking to the washout area. Right, so imagine that full of water. You just can't get from A to B without it splashing out. So especially with the big pumps, just because there's so much boom, there's so much more volume coming back, it just doesn't work. I have a buddy down in Utah that had a trick. where he would throw a couple bags of slick pack in his water before he'd water wash, and then when he pulled everything back, the slick pack made it thick enough that it wouldn't spill out of the hopper on him, which is a really good idea. The only problem we have is that those bags of slick pack are like, I don't know what they are, like $8 a piece Canadian. So it's like, I don't know, it's just another expense, right? But yeah, that stuff is full of sugar. That won't set for literally days, so we have no qualms about traveling with it. And no, the pump is not overweight with that bit of residual concrete in the hopper. This machine here actually has a good amount of leeway. It's under the maximum weight threshold by a pretty good amount. See this assembly is fastened to all factory mounting points, so no drilling, no cutting, no welding. These fastening points are from factory for optional racks, optional storage racks for hoses, pipes, you name it. So do not cut, drill, weld into your outriggers or pump structure without at least without consent from your manufacturer, which you probably aren't going to get anyways. But yeah, definitely do not do it without authorization. And yeah, that's a pretty slick rack, because those pads are 200 pounds a piece, 180 pounds a piece, pretty damn close to it. So it's a lot of weight for one guy to try and lift up onto the pump. So that's been a key little add-on to this pump, because not all the guys are as big as Mike. So getting the dunnage on and off, especially on these big booms, is a little bit taxing. So they've really been appreciative of that custom build. That's another custom build in Uncle Tony's fab shop, fabricated from scratch. All commonly available parts. I think because of Mike's obsessive habit of these water bottles, he probably has a crate of these in the pump too, I bet. And he leaves them everywhere. No matter what pump Mike's last been on, you'll find a couple water bottles in a hose, on the deck, wherever it is. I think Mike's new nickname needs to be the water boy until the water bottles stop. And they haven't. It's been about 10 years and they haven't stopped yet. So I don't expect them to stop anytime soon. But yeah, Mike's new name is the water boy. Let's check the cab and let's see if he has the gas station 12-pack of water in here. What did I tell you? He's a very thirsty guy, and he leaves a trail of water bottles behind everywhere he goes. I do like the sugar though. Mike also carries a brick of brown sugar in the pump, and that I can fully support and vouch for. The emergency kit. All right, well, just like that, that is the video for today. By the time you see this, I'm probably going to be in vacation mode. I'll be back on the Sunshine Coast. I'll probably be hanging out with Lionel to do a couple pump jobs. And rumor has it that Lionel might have a new pump coming to him, the model of which is very near and dear to my heart. So stay tuned for that. That video will probably come out the week after this one. But I'm super excited to get up there and hang out with him. Just wait till you see what he's got. Guess in the comments below, what new pump did Lionel get? If somebody guesses it right, I don't know. I've been doing so many contests. I don't know. If somebody guesses it right, the first person during the live premiere of this video, first person to guess what pump Lionel got, I'm going to send you something. How about that? Yeah, we'll do that. And for those of you that aren't the lucky winner, you can head on over to the Canadian Concrete Pumper branded merch store, shirts, hats, you name it. They got all kinds of stuff over there. As always, appreciate the support. And until next time, do one of these, do one of those, and as always, just keep on pumping. Just keep on giving her. Catch you on the next one.